Have you ever wondered why we keep repeating the same destructive emotional patterns, even when we know they hurt us? Carl Jung, one of the greatest pioneers of modern psychology, once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Today, I want to share with you the most powerful secret Jung uncovered after decades of studying the human psyche, a method that can literally transform your inner world and heal emotional wounds you've been carrying for years. This isn't just another psychological theory. It's a roadmap to your emotional rebirth, proven by decades of profound transformations in the lives of thousands. Are you ready to embark on this journey together? To understand Jung's secret to emotional healing, we first need to grasp how he viewed the human psyche. Unlike his mentor Freud, Jung believed that our mind wasn't merely a repository of repressed traumas and impulses, but a vast creative universe brimming with transformative potential. For Jung, the unconscious wasn't our enemy, but an ally waiting to be discovered, the greatest source of personal power we could ever access. Interestingly, modern neuroscience supports this view. Recent functional MRI studies reveal that 95% of our brain activity occurs at unconscious levels, acting as a vast reservoir of untapped resources. The cornerstone of this emotional healing is what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming psychologically whole, integrated, and uniquely ourselves. It's a journey of self-discovery where we harmonize the conscious and unconscious aspects of our psyche. Take the case of Michael, a 42-year-old executive who came to Jungian therapy paralyzed by anxiety attacks. Through the individuation process, he uncovered that his obsession with control was compensating for a deep sense of inadequacy rooted in childhood. By integrating this shadow of inadequacy, not only did his anxiety subside, but he also unlocked a newfound creativity and spontaneity that transformed his leadership at work. One of the most revolutionary aspects of Jung's work was his recognition of the shadow, the part of ourselves we hide not only from others, but most importantly, from ourselves. These are our rejected qualities, repressed impulses, and traits we deem unacceptable. The paradox Jung discovered is that the more we deny our shadow, the more power it holds over our emotional lives. Jennifer, a dedicated perfectionist who harshly judged irresponsible people, discovered during her Jungian work that her constant irritation was a projection of her own repressed desire for freedom and spontaneity. By accepting and integrating this aspect, she not only became more compassionate toward others, but also allowed herself to experience a joy in life that had been blocked for decades. Jung's method for awakening your inner power begins with what he called confrontation with the unconscious. This isn't theoretical, it's a daily practice of non-judgmental self-observation. When a strong emotional reaction arises within you, instead of blaming the external world, Jung suggested asking, "What does this reveal about me? What unacknowledged part of myself is being activated right now?" Practical exercise number 1. This week, identify someone who triggers strong irritation in you. In a journal, answer, "What irritates me about this person is," and then, "Could this trait exist in me in a hidden way?" This simple exercise has sparked transformative insights for thousands of people. A powerful tool Jung developed was active imagination, a method for directly dialoguing with the unconscious. Unlike passive meditation, it involves focusing on a disturbing emotion or image and allowing it to unfold as a scene or narrative in your mind while maintaining a conscious, participatory stance. Practical exercise number 2. Sit comfortably in a quiet place. Close your eyes and imagine a door. This is the door to your unconscious. Visualize it in detail. Now imagine it slowly opening. Who or what is on the other side? Begin an internal dialogue with this figure, asking questions about a current challenge in your life. Write down the responses that arise, no matter how surprising they may seem. Jung emphasized the vital importance of dreams as direct messages from the unconscious. Dreams are the language of the unconscious, he said. For Jung, it wasn't just about interpreting generic symbols, but understanding how each symbol relates to your unique life. Recent studies in sleep neuroscience confirm that during REM dreaming, the brain processes emotional memories and integrates new learning, just as Jung theorized a century ago. Practical exercise number 3. Place a notebook and pen by your bedside. Before sleeping, pose a specific question about an emotional issue you're facing. Upon waking, before getting up or checking your phone, jot down any dream fragments you recall without censorship. Do this for 2 weeks and observe the emerging patterns. Synchronicity, another foundational Jungian concept, refers to meaningful coincidences that cannot be explained by common causality. Modern quantum physics offers models suggesting that reality is fundamentally interconnected in ways that transcend linear time and space, validating Jung's profound intuition. A Jungian client, Sophia, during a period of deep reconnection with her repressed creativity, began noticing extraordinary coincidences. 3 different people offered her artistic opportunities in 1 week, despite her never mentioning her renewed interest. These synchronicities served as confirmation and amplification of her healing path. Working with archetypes is central to Jung's approach. Archetypes are universal patterns that exist in humanity's collective unconscious. The hero, the sage, the great mother, the shadow, the trickster. Practical exercise number 4. Identify a current challenge in your life. Now imagine, if this challenge were part of a movie or myth, which archetype would you need to embody to overcome it? The courageous warrior, the patient sage, the compassionate lover. Write a letter from this archetype to yourself, offering advice on your current dilemma. Many report that this exercise brings surprisingly fresh and powerful perspectives. One of the most overlooked aspects of Jung's method is the power of radical acceptance. Our natural tendency is to fight against parts of ourselves we consider negative or undesirable. Jung discovered that this inner conflict drains our vital energy. Robert, a renowned Jungian therapist, shares how his own transformation began when he finally accepted his inclination toward melancholy, which he had battled for years. Instead of trying to constantly stay positive, he learned to honor the unique insights his melancholic disposition offered, transforming it from an enemy into an ally. This radical acceptance released energy that had been wasted on self-criticism, allowing him to experience renewed creativity. Jungian emotional transformation isn't a linear path, but a cyclical one, like the seasons of the year. There will be periods of deep introspection, psychic winter, followed by bursts of creativity and renewal, psychic spring. Practical exercise number 5. Identify which psychic season you are currently in. If you're in a winter of introspection and apparent stagnation, instead of forcing action, honor this time with contemplative practices, knowing that renewal will come naturally. If you're in a creative spring, channel this energy into concrete projects rather than just thinking about them. This awareness of inner seasons aligns us with our natural rhythms of transformation. For Jung, true emotional healing is inseparable from connecting with something greater than ourselves. While Freud saw religiosity as a neurosis, Jung understood the spiritual dimension as essential to psychic health. Neuroscientist Lisa Miller, in recent research at Columbia University, found that people with a developed spiritual connection have a thicker prefrontal cortex in areas associated with awareness and attention, and are 80% less likely to suffer from recurrent depression, confirming exactly what Jung observed in his clinical practice decades before neuroimaging technologies existed. Compared to other contemporary approaches, Jungian work complements rather than competes with many current therapies. While cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, focuses on changing dysfunctional thoughts in the present, the Jungian method explores the deeper roots of these patterns in the unconscious. Mindfulness teaches non-judgmental observation of thoughts, just as Jung advocated. But the Jungian approach adds the element of broader meaning and purpose that many mindfulness practitioners report missing in purely attentional practices. Jungian therapy doesn't replace these approaches, but offers a depth dimension that often completes them. The process of integrating polarities is another key element of Jung's method. Our psyche contains countless opposites: masculine, feminine, rational, intuitive, social, solitary. Neurosis often arises when we rigidly identify with one side and reject the other. Practical exercise number 6. Identify a polarity you struggle with. For example, if you strongly identify as the rational and logical person, write a letter from your intuitive side to yourself. What would this neglected part say if it had a voice? What gifts might it offer to your life? Practiced regularly, this exercise gradually dissolves the inner divisions that cause suffering. Some common challenges arise when we begin applying Jung's method. First, inflation. When we over-identify with emerging archetypal content, feeling special or enlightened. Another risk is defensive intellectualism, analyzing symbols and patterns without truly feeling and integrating the associated emotions. Perhaps the most common challenge is impatience, expecting immediate results from a process that, by its nature, unfolds in layers and cycles. As Jung warned, there is no painless transformation of the personality. The key to overcoming these obstacles is to remain humble, emotionally honest, and committed to the long-term process, ideally with the support of an experienced therapist or study group. The Jungian concept of persona and its integration is crucial to our emotional health. The persona is the social mask we wear to adapt to the world. David, a successful artist, came to therapy deeply alienated despite his external success. He discovered he had so completely identified with his persona of serious and intellectual artist that he had lost touch with his playful and spontaneous self. Through Jungian work, he regained the ability to authentically embrace playfulness, which ironically brought new vitality to his artistic work. Practical exercise number 7. Make a list of all the personas or social roles you play: professional, parent, friend, etc. For each one, ask, what does this persona allow me to express? And what does it force me to repress? Identify authentic aspects of yourself that find no expression in any of your current personas. Finally, Jung emphasized that the ultimate goal of emotional healing isn't simply to eliminate suffering, but to transform it into meaning. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to what happens, he said. Sarah, a 38-year-old woman, had suffered a tragic loss in an accident that also left her with reduced mobility. Years of conventional therapy focused on acceptance hadn't alleviated her depression. Through the Jungian approach, she didn't just seek to accept her condition, but to discover what unique meaning she could extract from the experience. Eventually, this led her to create an innovative rehabilitation program using art therapy, transforming her own pain into a vehicle to help others in similar situations. As Jung reminds us, there is no healing without loss and no integration without pain. If this dive into Jung's world has stirred something deep within you, try one of the practical exercises I shared today and let us know in the comments how it went. Which aspect of Jungian psychology resonated with you the most? Share this video with someone who's seeking authentic emotional transformation. You might just be offering them the exact perspective they need right now. If you value this kind of content that goes beyond the surface and provides practical tools for real growth, support our channel by clicking like and subscribing for more explorations of the human psyche. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next video on the specific archetypes that shape our romantic relationships. Remember, as Jung said, your vision will become clear only when you look into your own heart.